have another caller on. Chad, you there?
I'm here, guys. What's going on?
Okay, how are you? We've got Ed on. We've got Chad, myself, and Mark. Now, I want to tell you, talking about in this city, I'm going to tell you a little story.
I just wanted to tell Chad what we were talking about from earlier, and then you can tell the story.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to, what we're talking about is that the topic today really is, the First Amendment in the 21st century. The fact that you have sporting figures who are protesting, not standing during the National Anthem, and how people feel about it, as their right to express their First Amendment rights. And Ed had called in, and he's giving his opinion, and now Felix has a
short story. When I was young, many years ago, I was a cab driver. And I was in Midtown Manhattan, and this young black man, suit and tie, weighs me down. So I pull over, he gets in, and then all of a sudden 3 of his friends jump into the car with them. So now there's 4 young black men in the car, and they want to go to the heart of Harlem. And this was in 1972, so Harlem was not great. And I'm driving, and needless to say, I got to where I was going to go with them. Really bad block. People look at me like, what the hell is this? Cabs don't go in that area. It just doesn't happen. So anyway, of course I got there. I told them the toll was whatever it was. They looked at me. They opened up the doors, and they all ran different ways. I got beat out of the fare.
You got stiffed on the...
I got stiffed. 2 seconds later, a patrol car comes over, and he goes, "What are you doing here? You don't belong here." And he escorted me out of Harlem, out of the area, because he felt that my life was in danger. Yeah. And I was a young kid. I was stupid. I didn't know. The guys want to go. Yeah, it's a good fare. That was a good, like a $12, $14 fare at the time.
I have a Harlem story. I taught in Harlem for a year.
Yeah.
I taught on 116th Street, which is now Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard. And every time we passed the precinct there, it was always draped in purple. Okay? Meaning there was a death or a tragedy. And I used to go out. I had the last period free, so I would go out, and I had a 1972 Toyota that never started in cold weather. So I used to go out.
You are old.
I know. I used to start my car, and I would let it warm up. And a bunch of kids walked by, and Toyotas aren't that big, and they started rocking the Toyota. I thought they were going to turn me over for a second, And they didn't, of course. But I tell you, I taught in Brownsville. I taught in Harlem. I was never really afraid. I had some stuff done to my car, but, you come to expect that. But my funny story was I was on about 105th Street and off Park Avenue getting ready to go on the Triborough Bridge. And at that corner, a bunch of prostitutes hang out, So I stopped for a light. And there was a little white one, a little white girl comes over. She had to be, she was fairly young, tried to proposition me, and she's talking with me. I had my wedding band on. I was married at the time.
That's their favorite kind.
Well, she said, "Oh, why aren't you interested? You're a cute guy, and, hey, it's, I don't mind, blah, blah, blah." I told her I was gay. She said, "That's okay." She said, "I know a guy who'll do you," I said, "No, thanks."
Oh, my gosh. Mark, what the heck are you getting yourself into here?
Yeah, right.
Well, I like to tell stories,
Well, now if you go into Harlem, 125th Street, it's got shopping centers. It's got
beautiful.
Fantastic
it's gentrified.
Restaurants.
Very gentrified now.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. They're squeezing. They're basically squeezing out the blacks and Hispanics.
Well, the thing is, back at the turn of the 19th to 20th century, you had a lot of artsy people, poets and actors and actresses lived there.
Yeah.
The school that I taught in, Wadley Intermediate School, was at one time an all-girls high school.
Okay.
That was really very prominent in the acting community.
But Mark, we're being bad hosts.
I know.
We should allow our guests to speak.
Yeah, I know.
We should listen.
People are getting tired of hearing me talk. So
I apologize for Mark and also myself. We got another caller.
One of the problems of being
Nash,
a
I
teacher,
think,
you never know when to shut up.
We got another guy. Nash is coming on.
Oh, Naj is coming on now?
Nash is on, I believe, yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Here comes trouble. Naj, is that you?
There you go.
Man. How you guys doing?
Hey, brother.
Nice.
How are you?
Okay, let's see, Naj. Let me just tell you who's on. You may want to... We've got Ed on from
Orlando. We got Chad from Rochester, and you.
So we got...
okay, how y'all doing, man?
Hey, Nas, how you doing, buddy?
So let me ask, what do you think about the pro football players and their protests?
I mean, as long as they're American citizens, I don't see what the problem is. If they choose to, do their patriotism or what they feel like needs to be addressed.
Wait, Nas, is that really about patriotism, though?
Well, if you let me finish, I'll get to it. And if you let them finish, if you let them do what they decide they want to do and take the consequences of it, I don't really see what the problem is. Now, when I say patriotism, I mean in the form of their own people in this country and the treatment of their people. If they feel like it's wrong and it should be addressed, and this is their forum to do it, and as Americans, I have no problem with it.
Do you think this is the proper forum for them, though?
And their people. You mean American people?
Yeah.
What do you mean people?
Football players protesting.
The football players.
I mean, when I say my people, I mean I live in a city full of white and black people. What do you mean when you say your people?
Other American
people.
Other Americans.
All right.
We're talking about, it's, but, they want to protest.
I don't understand the whole kneeling down thing. I really think there's other ways, okay? And I agree with Nas, and I agree with Kaepernick and people who are upset about violence. I don't like violence any more than anybody else, right? In fact, I think there ought to be a theocracy where God rules the people rather than people rule the people, because this is what it turns into. It turns into race fights. But what my point with this whole Kaepernick thing
would only be race fights if there's a racial problem. Like, there wouldn't be race fights if there wasn't a problem. So, I mean, we got to address that. Like, we like to run away and act like when something happens, somebody is dividing people. It's like, no, people are already divided.
You gotta be not only reasonable. I think you got to be practical.
Yeah,
those
two words don't really go along with protest, and are usually people's way of watering down or changing your protest to what they want it to be. Protests are going to be uncomfortable. They're going to make some people mad, and that's the only way they're actually effective. And the only reason they're kneeling down is because Green Beret Navy SEAL Nate Boyer, who is a former football player, he came to talk to Kaepernick, and he said, you should go to one knee, and that way you're acknowledging the veterans, and they won't take this as disrespectful. So he did that after consulting with the veterans. And then he started his whole operation of donating money, and every turn he takes to do something, people still say, well, that's not enough. Well, he's not doing this. Well, if he did it another way. Well, the reality of it is people don't want to talk about police brutality or the treatment of black people in America. So anyway he does this, people are going to come up with why it makes him uncomfortable and how he should do it another way.
Well,
I agree that there's violence, but you know what, Nas? There's violence everywhere.
Sir, do you understand the difference between violence between two citizens and violence by a state-sponsored agent, someone with the badge and the power to decide life and death on a street corner?
And now,
okay, so those aren't the same thing.
You should know that actually there are more white people who are killed by police every year.
Yeah, but why would you assume? Why would you assume that he's saying he doesn't care about the white people who are shot? White citizens who are shot deserve the same right to trial.
Because
like
you know
that's
not what this is about, Nas. You know that's not what this is about. This is about people standing up, and he said it himself in the article, fighting for the rights of my people. And he's referring to the African Americans, which I agree these are tragedies, who have been killed by people who they think is of some sort of injustice. But it's some kind of race battle. This has nothing to do with people are bad shooting people.
Man, look. Let me explain something to you. You just told me that more white people are shot than black people by the police, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, what if I told you that white people were 62% of this country and black people were 13, and black people are twice as likely to be shot by the police? What does that tell you?
I would say that it's a tragedy. This is what I would say, Nas. Ready? I would say it's a tragedy that people get shot. That's what I would say.
Okay. Now you just hold on. You can't not bring race to it if one group is specifically being targeted at twice the rate of other citizens.
Sure, white people.
That's not bringing race into it. That's reality.
I should stand up for white people then, if that's the case.
Why wouldn't you? Right, why wouldn't you?
Shoot, I'm going to go protest and go beat up on black people now. Because white people
Why would you
shot.
beat up on black people? Because you think black people are shooting white people?
Because I'm angry. I'm pissed off that white people are getting shot by police.
So why wouldn't you protest the police and your local government? Why would you immediately throw in black people? That's weird.
Because that's not my job. It's my job to proclaim the gospel of Jesus with all people, black, white, Asian, German, Canadian.
You go do those measures, and I think the rest of us will look at earthly matters and see if we can fix earthly things. We're all entitled to our own opinions and what we think matters.
That's why we get into trouble, Rod. That's why we get into trouble.
No, there is no trouble. You decided you want to handle it your way. I decide that I want to handle it a different way. There's no need for there to be trouble.
Oh, there's no right and wrong.
I'm not blocking you. I'm not blocking you from doing what you want to do.
No, there's no right and wrong.
I said nothing about right and wrong, man. Are you okay?
There's no right and wrong.
Who said anything about there being no right and wrong?
Well, I mean, can we do whatever we want? I mean, this is a free country.
So you think someone protesting people being killed is a problem with right and wrong and people doing whatever they want? Like, that's where you took that?
Yes, sir.
That is a weird logical leap you made.
I think the problem is that we're not thinking straight. I think we think on emotion. And that's what happens when people try to rule people rather than God ruling people.
Well, you handle it in your ways. I think I'll handle it in my way.
That sounds like the American way.
Everyone grab their bulletproof vests. Might as well.
Well.
Oh well, I'm handling it my way, Nas.
I mean, that's all. That's what you're saying. I haven't said anything about that. I don't know, man. You might not be hearing me clearly.
You just said that we can handle it any way we want. You handle it your way.
I said you handle it your way. I'll handle it my way. I'm talking about protesting and shifting and changing the police department to acting as enforcement agents who think they have the control of life or death. I think that's wrong. You said you would handle that. Hold on. You said you would handle that in your religious way by seeking God and doing it that way. I say you should be free to do that. I think I should be free to protest. You seem to have a problem with that. Maybe there's something wrong with you. Maybe you're a totalitarian or a tyrant. I don't know, man, but I don't believe in fundamentalism.
Okay, but hold on, Nas. What I'm saying here is, depending on how you handle it, makes things right or wrong. For instance, in an environment that gets out of control because people are angry, and it happens, I get it, all right? We're not dumb. Even though we're white, we're not dumb, you know. We